Well, I was never a comic book fan, at least of those kinds of books. But I was familiar enough with the character of Captain America to find for myself that there was an interesting story in there. There was a sort of a universal wish fulfillment story in this character who can go from the 98-pound weakling into this superhero, you know, virtually overnight. And I think that was a story that I could that I wanted to tell. But I also wanted to keep it. I wanted to tell the origin story of that character and not make it contemporary, because you know, you have one chance to go back and tell the original story, and I felt that was the one to tell, and Marvel agreed. It has, and I think it's being influenced by all the different ways you can watch movies. You know, I prefer to go into a dark theater with, you know, 200 strangers and watch a movie. I don't want to watch it on my phone or my, you know, computer. And I think it makes a huge difference in how you perceive the film when you're watching it on a giant screen. So I think for me, the movie industry, they're not making as many smaller, interesting films as they used to, and I think that's sad, because I think that some of the more interesting films don't have a lot of visual effects and superheroes and that kind of thing. You know, they're just more interesting, sort of personal human stories, and I think there need to be more of those. You know, I'm no longer in touch with the Lucasfilm people, but you know, it would all depend on the story. I mean, if they would ask me to do one, I would consider it. But I want it to be the right kind of story, and specifically about Boba Fett, I don't think you should ever see his face. He should never take the helmet off, because that helmet is his persona. That's who Boba Fett is. Once you take the helmet off and you see the actor underneath, then you've lost the mystery of who that person is. Well, the experience for me was, you know, all films are difficult to make on many levels, but I just had a wonderful time working with Robin Williams. He was just a very collaborative and resourceful actor, and I had heard stories that he just goes wild and ad-libs everything, and you know, it's hard to keep him sort of in line. That was not the case at all. He recognized that the story and the visual effects that he had to interact with were as important a part of the film as he was, and so he was very careful not to go outside the box. As far as the new film, I don't know much about it. I know that they have, the story involves them going into the jungle instead of someone coming out, which I think is a really good idea for a sequel. But beyond that, I don't know anything about it.
Are you excited about that movie?
I'd like to see it, yeah. I've read that. I don't know if they're moving forward with that or not. There was a sequel planned for The Rocketeer before the first film was released, and it involved the rocket has been stored in a warehouse, much like the one at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's someone finds the rocket and, you know, starts to fly. It's sort of a Cold War story. But when the first film didn't make enough money, Disney decided to shelve the idea for a sequel. So.
And what do you think about that idea to introduce to the audience a female version of Rocketeer?
You know, it could work. I don't really know much about the story. I've heard that right now they're just rumors about the remake, but or the sequel, I guess you'd have to call it. But you know, it could be fun. I don't know. I think it's a great place to make smaller, lower budget, either films or limited series. I think it's, you know, there's a lot of. It seems to me that all the best writing now is on television, and all I really have to watch, as far as that goes, at home is Netflix and Amazon. So I watch a lot of that stuff, and it's a lot easier in a way to tell a story in long form, where you have 10 hours or 12 hours for a season to tell a much more elaborate story, rather than trying to condense it into 2 hours. So I'm a big fan of that whole new way of telling those stories. The fourth book in the series, The Silver Chair, and we're rewriting the script, and hopefully we'll shoot in New Zealand in next winter 2018.